I just realized my mic wasn't working for some reason. We are live talking about movies once again. James Bond, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall, the first three Daniel Craig movies. When it used to be great. Anyway, how are you, Dragon?
I am very good. I'm just midst of chilling and redoing things. That's okay.
Amazing. So let's start with the first of these three amazing James Bond, or I should say, two of the three are amazing. The one in the
Uh,
middle is not so great. So, what did you think of Casino Royale? And keep the attention on Casino Royale as of right now.
you're fine. Okay, so Casino Royale was originally not intended as a James Bond novel. Fun fact. It was not part of main canon. Now, in the reboot of the series, not reboot, but like every time they have to relaunch with a new person, Craig's Bonds decide to be more realistic. Now, love or hate most James Bonds because they take the book out of all the books out of order in one fashion or another. Casino Royale was never intended initially to be one. Now, they do incorporate it in as it's a new Bond. Now, it's fine. Like, I mean, look, Craig's Bonds versus past Bonds, unironically, are more grounded, even though Spectre should be more universally world domination-ish, but it's kind of the way it works. I don't think it's a bad film, but like Daniel Craig fit like a Bond role. Do I call it one of the best? Probably not. It's because it's an awkward film. It wants to be a Bond film, but not a Bond film, if that makes sense. Because canonically, by the books, it's not a Bond film. It's not a Bond book.
Yes, it's a Bond book. That's the first Bond book.
No.
Yes,
Dr. No was the
this is.
first Bond book.
No.
Here's where I'll disagree with you. You're talking to someone who knows the James Bond stuff.
I've read I have
You've
14...
read them, but by lore, Casino Royale was not considered a James Bond. Part of the novels. It's part of the
That's
novels.
weird because Live and Let Die is the direct sequel to it. It happens like a few months after Casino Royale. And that's the second book.
So, the interesting part about it is, he never intended for it to be. That's actually the weird part about it. Because that's why the initial one that they did, the first film that they actually kind of, when they did it, wasn't the intended. And I have the books too.
That's weird.
If you look at it, because Ian Fleming, it's not like unironically he didn't think it was going to be a success. But it's definitely... So when we heard Casino Royale was going to be a movie, I mean, it's like, sure, you're only thinking of the Woody... I think it's a Woody Allen that did it before. So the original books, like... I mean, trust me, Spectre plays a role all over.
It's not even the same name. It's merged or something like that.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like... That organization was sprinkled all throughout, I think, majority of the... I'd have to go back to years. What, like, it was sprinkled out all through the, like, original Bond books. Now, I mean, granted, Blofeld actually finally dies, and it's Live and Let Die, or...
No, not in the books at least.
He gets shoved into... No, the scene where he gets shoved into a smokestack. God.
Live and Let Die was Mr. Big.
No. There's a beginning sequence. Never mind. But...
Maybe you're talking about the movies.
No, Blofeld. It's in one of the movies. Sorry, I have to go back and think. It's like in an intro to them. It's like when they have the opening monologue with the action of where he is, and he picks up. It's one of the Roger Moores because he picks up Blofeld and drops him off into a thing. But anyway,
That's for your eyes only.
yes, that's what I was thinking of. That was the beginning of it. See, terrible with names, but a lot to remember. But yes, Casino Royale was. I don't mind it. It's a relaunch, but I also don't like the storytelling. It's kind of a Bond, but also he becomes Bond and then he wants to retire. Yeah. Like it's an odd plot the way they handled it. I mean,
Well, it was very accurate to the books.
I mean, Bond isn't going to just become Bond and then choose not to be Bond. I mean, proven fact. I mean, and but part of the current mythos, though, is the fact he is basically like, well, they say MI5 uses orphans. I mean, but technically the only other time we've ever seen like recruitment is by like, it's like weird. Like, okay, technically you get to find out how they kind of pick double O's. Double O's are either usually retired military or spec ops for MI5. They call it MI6 in the movies. But you see the origins. Now, I have never liked the Vesper Fairchild plot? I've never liked it.
She was in the books as well.
I know she's in the books. Like, the thing about it is, yeah, but see, okay, canonically, Bond does have a child. But the Gardner books continue that on because there's another off Bond as well. But there's the idea. He wants to settle down. But that's actually why. But Vesper Fairchild, it's kind of a strange plot when you get into the whole thing. I don't call it a terrible. It's just that awkward thing. Because you know it's a reboot of the Craig's Bond. It was his first Daniel Craig, and according to some, Daniel Craig is one of the better. I mean, ranking of Bonds, everyone's like Sean Connery, and everyone likes others for different reasons.
You know what's funny? I think Pierce Brosnan is the best one, and I'd say Daniel Craig as both extremes. Daniel Craig as the best Bond movies and also the worst Bond movies.
He's also the borderline, take his bullshit aside, he's almost the most feminist Bond.
Yeah.
To be honest, what caught him a lot of shit was he decided to he was one of the ones that was actually advocating for a female Bond. But that's fucking later on. Did you not know that?
I do.
He actually was one of the ones.
I know it's true.
It's one of those ones where Craig came on, like he's like one, because normally Bonds are signed to 5 films. He wanted out after 3. But
you can tell just by the acting. Right after Skyfall, it all falls apart.
See, I don't know.
Anyway,
Casino Royale was
later. For later.
They use Casino Royale as a relaunching platform for the other. Like, I don't mind the plot. Like, the plot could be fine. Like, the plot works for what it is. Like, it's a grounded Bond, and then I guess you're just trying to say, okay, sure. I mean, it's just
the most
odd.
human Bond. It's the most human Bond. We gotta admit that.
Actually, you get it later on because, like, okay, technically, you only live once, That's a very human Bond too, if you know that one.
It's You Only Live Twice.
Sorry, yes, sorry. If you only live twice, yeah, sorry. It's one of those days, brain mixed up. You only live twice. That's actually in the books where he actually has the child with a woman.
Oh, really? That's
That's
interesting. I
actually
cannot
his
wait to
son.
be
That's
there on the
actually his
book.
son. Like they technically get married.
As of
And
right now, I've only read Casino Royale in
the
Live and Let
books
Die.
are just a little different. That's
Oh,
all.
very different, except for
They
Casino Royale.
are the Gardner books are what. So technically, he wrote the original books. He wrote the original books, and then Gardner was the second person to pick up the mantle. Then the later ones were done by scripts for Goldeneye, and all of them were done by Raymond Benson. Sorry if I butcher the names. He was one of the ones, basically. That's if you didn't know that.
I didn't.
He basically wrote, because there's been several. Because technically, the weird 80s, the Bond in the 80s is a sequel Bond, but it's not considered movie Bond, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, was it Live and Let Live? Eh.
It's a
really off-brand. It's an off-brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyways, Casino Royale is good for what it is. But it was also the introduction to how they are going to handle Bond, because Bond is different with every actor. So you have to remember that. Every Bond is utterly different. Like Bronson was, what his first was, GoldenEye, basically. He was coming off Remington Steele. Yeah, basically. It's one of those things. But I give it good luck. It's not terrible. So...
Well, do you want to add anything else on
No,
Casino Royale? Okay, so I guess I will go on it. I will keep some stuff I want to say for another stream I plan for Casino Royale eventually. But long story short, I think it's an amazing Bond movie. I don't know why I muted myself. I don't know what's going on with that.
Are you fat? Do you have a hot tab?
I don't know. Anyway,
sorry.
I will say it's my favorite James Bond movie by far. Skyfall is a close second, but Casino Royale is just amazing. I really enjoyed it, and I thought the movie was great at showing overtelling and the action. Every I don't know what's going on with my mic. Keep muting myself there. Don't know why, but the action itself was great. We don't have that many action scene in that movie, but every action scene is amazing. Now, the other thing, the music. The music was always very good, and again, I don't know what's up with my mic. It keeps going on enough, but the music is something James Bond always did right. I maybe it's a StreamYard issue, so I will be right back.
StreamYard, yes. No, so yes. Music has always been Bond's forte. God, forget the name. Sorry, it's one of those weird days for me. Forgive me. But music has always been the key. The problem itself is I do forget that. But they've used the same... Right? They've actually used the same... They were using the same studio in lot for 30 or 40 years, basically. So when you talk about the music multi, they keep the themes. Now, the themes are different for everything. Like, I think it works like Adele, like when you get eventually to like the others, it actually works, because at this point, at one of the points when you come up on the anniversary, because I think it was
Skyfall.
the 50th. I forget when they hit the 50th.
Yeah, that was
the
Skyfall.
one with the Q. Yeah, 50th came under Craig. I want to say which one it was when they killed Q was another anniversary too, but I forget which one.
Q dying.
Q dying.
That
The
was
old
the
Q.
other.
The old Q retired.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was one of the Pierce Brosnan, I think.
Yeah, that was an anniversary, but yes, they use multi. Fun fact: for a while, and I do not know if it's going to still be a thing with them. They used the same lot in the same area for years. So
that's interesting. So now,
yeah.
hopefully, my glitch is done and I can finally
Yes.
review it without my mic getting offline for some reason. I don't know. I think Bond really becoming James Bond in that movie was very fun because at first he dresses up like a bum, let's be honest, and eventually he wears the cool tuxedo, and you're like, that's part of his progression into becoming James Bond, and that's very nice. And we also get to see the first few people he deletes to remind you to friendly, so he gets his license to end lives. um, Now, I will also say there wasn't that much humor, but the humor did work very well. And as usual, I think they nailed the one-liners. I think Daniel Craig is very much a standout James Bond, and I thought this movie was very good at showcasing a smart and effective James Bond. He was able to learn and password and name and all of the stuff he should know, which is fascinating. Then you really realize it's a very, very cool um, aspect of the character. Now, I'll also admit that Vesper is far better in the movie than in the books. I said it. I thought she was an afterthought of the books, and they were like, "Oh, we need female representation in the book, so let's smash her in there." And like in the last 30-40 page, they kind of start working on her, but it's a bit too late because then spoiler, 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 they kind of end her life abruptly. It's just fascinating how the books decide, oh, she matters, and then they just offer. Well, in this Casino Royale, she is at least a full hour of let's work on her, and she is very capable, and she is helping James Bond in many instances. Like when he was collapsing by the car, and she basically brought him back. Or when they basically team up on that guy in the staircase and they just end him, and the bond in the bond and this no, well, actually the bond between Bond and Vesper, if you know what I mean, is actually well fleshed out in the Casino Royale movie.
So the thing is, people never understood. They do it as a brand. See, bear in mind, they tried to launch it as he was a brand new Bond. That's the trick. Either the other one died or the other one retired. Now, for the most part, the only reason you ever see anything like about the 00 program, it's not because Ian Fleming did it the way he did. He wrote it as, I think it's the Pierce. What I think it's either GoldenEye or Tomorrow Never Dies. You see like 006, and you see the other 00 agents. I think it's in Tomorrow Never Dies.
No, that was
Die Another Day. When the office gets bombed. It's when the office gets bombed.
That's The World Is Not Enough.
We're gonna say, yep. See, I'm always off by one film.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it. But yes, other than that, you never really hear about the other 00s. There are female other 00s. Or 00Os. So the idea is they're just like supposed to be elite agents.
Yeah.
So some either die or they are replaced. So the irony usually is just depending on how they do it. Now, in reality, sometimes it's more. The Casino Royale tried to deal with that, but they took a little bit different direction than I think most people thought with the lore. But then again, it's really weird. Like, I think it's what Mr. White is the main villain. It's been a while since I've seen it. Mr. White? Is it Mr. White?
I can't remember. Like I
the
remember,
old man who's her father.
That was her father. I can't remember what you referred to be honest.
I'll have to look it up real quick. But yeah, there's a villain who's like in there that happens to be her father that she hid that was the father.
Anyway, to get back to Casino Royale, I think this movie had no issues whatsoever, and I understand everyone saying, "Oh, it's one of the best James Bond." I agree with that. I think it's universally loved, and I just think they did James Bond very well with this movie. Every aspect was nailed, and again, I plan on doing an entire stream just about Casino Royale and everything's I want to say about it, and also to compare it to the book I've read with the same name, basically, and basically most of the same story with more stuff because Casino Royale wanted to add more context and to flesh out the story and characters, which is surprising and good at the same time. Anyway, Casino Royale for me is a masterpiece. It's one of the best James Bond there is because every aspect of a James Bond movie is in there. And they added more because now he feels human and the writing is just great. And Vesper as a character was probably one of the best Bond girl. And her affecting so much James Bond that he goes on a crusade with Quantum of Solace was very interesting. Anyway, with that being said, do you have any closing thoughts on Casino Royale? And no? Okay, well, I will ask you, what would be your grade out of 10 for Casino Royale?
I usually give it because it's a reboot. I've always said it's good. It's one of those ones. Hasn't aged as well as I thought it did. I give it like an 8 because it's not like terrible, but it's supposed to be grounded. It wasn't a warning sign of things to come, but I'll be very honest.
That's a very interesting take. When it comes to me, this movie is a masterpiece. It's a 10 out of 10. Again, I think it's the best James Bond movie there is. And yeah, that's how I feel
You
toward Casino
compare,
Royale.
okay, Multi. You compare it differently. I usually have to compare it by the eras because
It's also the best in the Daniel Craig era as well. Skyfall is a close second, but
see, okay, the problem
I had a lot more to say about Casino Royale than I had about Skyfall.
So the thing about Craig's Bonds, which is really weird, is you have to realize they're small scale because a lot were set during the Cold War, where when there was set. So being set in the Cold War is very different for everything.
Yeah.
Where maybe you would have sure, doomsday plots. Spectre, part of Spectre's original thing was Thunderball and everything else. They're trying to fuck over stuff and do something weird, blow up stuff. Which it's kind of yes, it's because the organization is more levels of espionage or other. If it was very little, that's why when that is sprinkled through the entire series is what that is. It's sprinkled through the entire series.
Yeah.
Basically.
Anyway, now let's get into Quantum of Solace, the revenge story that directly follows the death of Vesper. And now we get to see a James Bond a bit different. Well, a bit different. I don't know how different he is because it's still very early in his journey, but now he is out for blood and for revenge. What did you think of Quantum of Solace?
In a way, I felt it was actually slightly better than Casino Royale, but it's something still off. I mean, villain was good.
That's
Basically,
interesting.
the idea, it's a very strange. Quantum of Solace is actually not as terrible, but I liked it slightly better. It had better pacing.
That could be understandable. I'd say Le Chiffre was far better than whatever we got in Kingdom of Solace, but
well, it's also carried by the guy who plays the villain. Like, what is it? Yeah, it was Le Chiffre. Like
that was in Casino Royale, Le Chiffre. That was
Mickelson. That wasn't the villain in the second one, was it? No.
Yeah, that was the oligarch.
Yeah, but then again, if you know him, Mickelson plays a hell of a villain. That's if you ever know anything about him. He always plays a hell of a villain if you know anything about it.
So, do you want to add anything on Quantum of Solace?
I mean, that was very different as well, considering the context that we get, I guess, later on. I'll be honest, there's a part of it that's it's definitely an odder film of that. Now, it feels like it, but yes, he's just it's a revenge mission. It's kind of awkward, like he's off the lam doing whatever, so you can kind of figure it's just going to be that. As I said, it's not one of my favorites. Craig's Bonds are an awkward bunch. Like, they're not entertaining, but it still sounds like very modern Bond, basically. That's what I say on that, yes.
Well, I guess that's my go, except if you'd like to add more.
You're good.
Well, I will speak a bit more about Quantum of Solace than I will about Casino Royale, because I don't plan on making an entire stream about Quantum of Solace. I don't think there is enough content for it, so let's go into Quantum of Solace. I had 5 issues with that one. The first issue, the plot convenience really early in the movie. We had a boss appearing to help James Bond in the chase. My second issue being the Bond girls. We had 2 ladies, if I remember correctly, and I actually already forgot about these 2 ladies. And I've seen the movie like a few weeks ago. It's fascinating how you can mess that one up. You go from Vesper, a great Bond girl, to whatever we got in the sequel.
I mean, it's sad. Let me say this. Technically, Bond girls, by the way they functionally work is they're usually around for like one film.
And
it's only Roger Moore's, like, where you see a couple of them.
And the chick inspector, she comes back in No Time to Die.
Like, it's
I think they changed the casting, but that's the same character.
But, like, Live and Let Die kind of had one from a prior, right? So it's very just different, so to speak. Now, you're talking, but Bond girls trying to be memorable.
But Quantum of Solace failed doing so in my books.
Yes, it wasn't off.
The third issue I had showing the backstory of the Bond girl, and yeah. The other issue would be bad aiming, and the last issue, that was at the end of the movie, everything blows up, yet no sense of urgency, because touchy feeling, we need to talk, we need to be emotional in a quite forgettable movie. Quantum of Solace was a massive letdown in my books. That's a bit unfortunate, because again, I'm a big fan of Casino Royale and Skyfall. It's kind of hilarious how Quantum of Solace is right in between two amazing Bond movies, and it's just not as great as the other two. Anyway, to get back to Kingdom of Solace, outside of my issues, I'd say they are really good things despite my issues. So, you know what? I I think the opening sequence was very entertaining, and the chase was cool. The action was great, and again, the music is back and being nice. Um, More one-liner that are very fun. It's a one-liner about dead end and someone dies. It's I know it's an easy shot fired, but I like it. The political talk was somewhat okay handled. A lot of movies and TV show fail conveying compelling political talk, but this movie kind of did it right. It was before the millennials were very involved in the industry. CIA guy lying was entertaining, and he was also back. He was in Casino Royale as well, and now he is back. I enjoyed that, and the same guy in the books came back for Live and Let Die after being there in Casino Royale, which is very interesting. The humor was very good, and Mates' death was very sad, and M trusting Bond regardless of anything made sense. More cool action, and the girl getting her revenge at the end was nice, parallel with James Bond getting his own revenge. Um, a few interesting idea. Interesting how agencies are willing to deal with anyone with oil. It makes sense. It's money. Bond feeling betrayed by Vesper made sense. It's also accurate to the books. Interesting how America doesn't care about politics as long as they have oil. More oil stuff, you know. James Bond being about vengeance on that flick felt different. It felt more personal and it made sense. And again, I think some of the ideas are great. The movie isn't. And I don't have a lot more to say, so I will ask you, do you want to add anything else on Quantum of Solace?
I'll be very honest. That's when we started seeing the reason why a lot of the Craig Bonds feel awkward. And it's hard to describe. Why does it feel as awkward as they are? Is it's something similar we're going to be seeing. I think we're going to see it with the new like, look, I'm at the point, stop rebooting everything because I don't trust any modern person with Bond. I barely trust anybody anymore with their IPs. And Bond, Quantum of Solace was the warning sign. Call it like the weird canary and the coal mine effect for what we knew was coming. Like, is Bond a feminist? No. Is he the chattiest McChad? Possible. But the Bond's character, that's why it's just sometimes, like, I think some of the films work. But I also feel like the Bond films were losing their touch over time. Because Quantum of Solace, you said you don't remember the Bond girls. I'll be very honest. If you're remembered, most women who were in Bond films are remembered as Bond girls. Even
Jinx, Electra, they are good.
Yes, included.
Like Solitaire and Live and Let Die was good.
Halle Berry, right? Despite may have had a career before she was a Bond girl. Surprisingly, every era. Now, the odder ones get forgotten, but most of them remember them. So that's what you have to realize. I mean, then some of it's just... That's why I said the warning signs for later James Bonds were there. And that's why I say it just... Now, I did not like the plot. The plot was always off to me. I'm like, okay, you're going to get revenge. Someone's getting their revenge. What do you do? So, That's kind of how it works. I'm just like, that's why I say it's not
Quite
like
simple plot. Anyway,
But,
what would be your grade out of 10 for Kingdom of Solace?
honestly, I give it like still an 8. Like it wasn't as bad.
That's interesting. My score is a bit worse. I will give Kingdom of Solace a 7 out of 10, making it one of the lower end James Bond movies. I guess now we move on to Skyfall, the beloved one and one of the all time favorites of many. What did you think of Skyfall?
Actually, I think of Craig's Bond, but I think this was the one that was the 50th anniversary,
Yep,
and they had Adele come in
yep.
for the theme. Basically, the thing about it is, it's a film because they want to do the humanize. I want to say they wanted to do the humanizing effect for it, and it's a way to do it. Like, and I want to say they happily mostly nailed it. But the problem itself is emotional Bond, and then he has to save M, which he thinks is like, in a way, M is like his. I mean, Judi Dench had been with the franchise for Dame Judi Dench, as she's known.
She was there for 16 years at that point. 17
She
years.
had been there. Like, she's there for like.
She is the best M there is.
Yes. Well, arguably, if you go back to the original, the guy was like the M's got very rarely replaced, so to speak. M's were very common until they like died or the actors were, and then that's one of those things about M's. Like her actually like dying is like her, and it's fine. It's like a revenge plot. It's like small scale. I don't hate it, but it's good. It's a better one of Craig's Bonds. It's more of a personal plot. It reads like one of the, I say, more of the weirder novellas, basically. Now, in reality, is it? That's why I say it's fine. Get it, the Skyfall Ranch, whatever else. But yes, it goes along those lines. Now, reality is, I can understand why people like it over probably, I would say, others. But I like it better of it. It's just an odd film. Like, it's fine. And then you can get the one afterwards more terrifying. But Skyfall, God, don't get me started on the last Craig Bond.
The last two Craigs, because we got two Craigs after Skyfall.
God, no, I got
PTSD coming. That's for a future stream at some
no.
point
The
in March.
issue itself,
Or
it's
April.
Not, it's
Actually,
not
later,
what
April.
people think. It's like, look, every generation rewrites Bond to how they need it. Look, there's a James Bond game as we do this. There's a James Bond game coming out.
In May, I believe.
And no, it might be sooner. And people are scared to death of it. Because this is going, I hate to say this, this is going to be the Bond we're going to be getting. And
that's what I was saying. That's me.
like, this is going to be the Bond we're going to be getting for the next generation. Because it's not that Amazon will Amazonify it. Oh, God, that's not the word. There's a word for it. Amazon has an effect. Like, you cannot think of Bond as a feminist. You really, really, really can't. And that, like, First Light, I'm not saying First Light's going to be an odd one. Like, that's going to be the one that we're going to be getting. Like, Craig kind of set the stage for it. But that's why I say after Skyfall, you start seeing how modern people view Bond. It's like he can't be a womanizer. He he doesn't do it. It's like even in the books, like after You Only Live Twice, uh Bond's
I'm not
son,
quite there yet.
Bond's son, see, so in Living You Only Live Twice,
I've only read
because
2 books as of right now: Casino
because of
Royale and
that
Live and Let
marriage,
Die.
he actually has a son with her because he was living there.
Yeah.
And the son is later brought up in a Gardner book. Now, irony is he basically dies, but he has Bond realizes he has a grandkid, whatever else, or you realize it's consequences later on because he's lived his life as not being married. Like, he was only married once. Like, that was actually, what is it, James Lindsay one when he was married. That's like the subtle revenge plot for Her Majesty, on Her Majesty's Secret Service. See, which arguably is not considered well. But that's all I have to say. It's like Craig's Bond, this is what you started seeing. Craig is also around, Daniel Craig around this time. As I said, contractually, he didn't like it. Most Bonds are locked into contracts for at least 3 to 4 films, sometimes 5. But they like to stick with a Bond for enough of a film. Like, Idris Elba would make a great Bond. They were either considering
I
Idris
think
Elba.
he's too old right now.
He's too old now.
Yeah,
Like,
if they want to do a full reboot with like 4 or 5 movies, they need to grab someone in their mid-20s. I
there's
know Craig.
actually, they talked about
I know Craig was older when he got casted, but that's exactly how I feel because
Idris Elba was talked
if
about for being Bond forever.
if you grab someone in their 30s, I think it will be harder to get them to get a 5th movie because usually it takes 2 to 3 years each, and sometimes as they grow older, they cannot remain in shape as easily. So like again, I think they should grab someone in their mid-20s right now if they really want to launch a 5 movie saga again. They need to grab
3,
someone
4.
young.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Star Trek films. Like, you have to physically. It's like Star Trek series. They're kind of contractually obligated for 7 years. Up to it.
Yeah.
Now, realistically, do you get that out of them? No. The problem is, like, with Skyfall. Like, I don't know if you have the same concerns. It starts to show cracks. Like, the personal story, I'm not against. Like, that's okay to me. That's like one of those realms of I look at it as it could be better. But it's not like I remember it more for it's people trying to get more vengeance on M than Bond has to protect her.
Yeah.
It's like, but this is also the point. You could tell Craig was wanting out. That's one of the big deals. Like, even I remember stories around the time you'd hear him randomly bitching about getting the role. It's very weird. This is after, and they're like, oh, you at least get one more film out of him. And again, that's how we get the shitty other film.
I will be honest.
Downhill.
I think they should have finished with Spectre, even if No Time to Die is slightly better than Spectre. They are both really bad, and you can tell the actor's just done with the role, but he gets money, so I guess he continues.
See, okay, there's a difference when you can tell an actor likes the role they're in, and then an actor their time they're not, and it's like Craig was tired. It wasn't
he was
like
getting old as well because like by Skyfall it was 6 years already he was in the role.
I don't. Okay, it all depends on production time and when they take up the role.
There was a big gap between Kentum and Skyfall. And I think when there's a big gap like that, that's the best way to destroy any motivation in your actor. It's like, when will
Okay,
be the
now,
next one?
okay, so like they've talked about like that's why I say like the game like First Light is going to be.
May, I was right.
Yeah, so yeah, no. The thing is, Amazon's talked about kicking around the series. Yeah, look, I'm at the point of don't reboot anything.
I think they should make a one-off, like the Denis Villeneuve James Bond. It should be one-off to make it very different from the rest. And after Denis Villeneuve, then you can try someone for a saga, and you grab something young. But um, again, to get back to Skyfall, do you want to add anything else
No,
on
that's
Skyfall?
it. No.
Okay, well, I guess this is my goal, and this is my second favorite James Bond movie. I think Skyfall has an amazing theme. The action, as usual, is great, and the one-liners were very fun. And the idea that James Bond is a broken tool makes sense because at that point he seems very old. He got shot, he got injured, and then he kind of retires because he's fed up with it. And he comes back in the mix and he fails every test, and still uses him because she's kind of desperate, and she's like, oh, you will get back on track, you will be functional eventually.
One sec,
uh,
Multi. Do you remember the Pierce Bronson one? Where
yeah,
he goes, yeah,
the
you
last
failed
one.
the driving test where he lied to get back into service. And
Yeah,
then M's like, I know you had sex with her to help you pass. Do
yeah,
you
that's
remember
exactly.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's classic. To get back to Skyfall, I think Skyfall is a great continuation to what we had up to that point. And Da Silva is a what if James Bond goes wrong, because Da Silva is also a broken tool that was discarded the same way James Bond was discarded when they shot him over a list of agents. And that's very interesting. I thought Q, I think that was the first time we had a Q. I don't remember seeing Q in the Quantum of Solace or even Casino Royale. But the young Q that's like way too young, with glasses, the nerdy one, it was entertaining. I could relate so much to him for so many reasons. It's kind of funny. I think that's my favorite Q out there.
Actually, I'll be honest. So every Bond has their companion, so to speak. Um, that's the thing. He's basically to most. What is it? Uh, party. Pierce Bronson had the black guy who was a bodyguard to M. He had a good Felix Leiter. See, there's always he had him. He had the CIA contact. It's the chemistry amongst them. And actually, believe it or not, the one, if you think about it, is in fact the new Q. I don't mind. I mean, then again, you can't always replace the original. Like that's
I think
that's
you
the
can.
problem. You can't.
The new guy, I like the new guy far more than any other Q.
You like him more than the original.
Yeah,
The original one, look, there's like maybe
he's the
two
exact
people.
opposite of freaking Bond, and I think that's what makes the charm.
Okay, look, realistically, he's the only one who can smart off to Bond.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The guy who was the original Q, the actor, it's who you do. It's like it was a good role. That's why he maintained it. And he was legit going to retire. Like, that's his thing. He legit was going to. He had done the franchise for so long. It's like, and he already knows you need to continue it. Like, most people who do Bond know they have to. I'm not saying Bond actors are. It's like, but that's a film role. They love that role. So arguably, that's why I said the new Q not so bad, but then again, it's that I'm not gonna lie.
Money Penny as a field agent before she was Money Penny, I liked it.
That I would arguably say that's the second Money Penny. They want to say that's the first, because the one thing you have to nail in a Bond film, unironically, for a Bond story to work, is a Money Penny. I hate to break it to people, you have to.
Yeah.
If you don't nail, because yeah, she was a secretary, but everyone goes, "Yeah, Money Penny's the secretary." Okay, yeah, that's the trick. But like,
And I'd also say this: Casino Royale and Skyfall both have something in common. A great villain. I think Le Chiffre was amazing for Casino Royale, and Da Silva was amazing for Skyfall. And I think Da Silva is actually one of the best villain in the entire franchise, and Le Chiffre as well. But I think um, Da Silva is actually slightly superior than Le Chiffre. And as much as I really don't like No Time to Die, I think the villain in No Time to Die was actually okay, or I should say the actor was okay because the villain itself wasn't so great. But yeah, Casino. Well, Skyfall. Skyfall is again a standout movie. I think. Some of the aspect to it, James Bond aging out of his duties was a nice theme shown with the scene with Q. James Bond falling. The rest. Rewind. James Bond failing the test showed all of a broken weapon is become, and lying to
never
Bond.
he never got over. See, this is
Vesper he never got over
this is where
Vesper.
the difference between this Bond's generation, like, it's why sometimes, like, I hate when people, like, as much as I like certain creators when they review things, God bless them when they do, but the concept itself, it is you have to understand, they look, as I said, it's kind of implied unofficially that every Bond either ages out, either dies or get replaced. Some are more than others. Like Double O's. Like, I mean, that's why I think one of the films has the jokes that they use in the game as well. Double O's have a short life expectancy. That's used the theme. Like, either they are basically killed or they, I think it's like 007, like the fame of him even in the books, it was that he was able to stay active for so long. Because even if you go back to what, Roger Moore's Bond was aging as well, like towards the end, if you remember that, Multi.
It's been a long time.
But anyways, yeah, that you got to think about it. It's a lot in modern era. It's not that Bond, like, that's why I say Skyfall was good. Skyfall's a simple revenge plot. He's attached to M, but M is also, that version of M is not perfect. She has flaws. She's a very risky M. Now, it's a very much, excuse the modern, but you start to see the modern politics coming into Bond. So everyone was eventually finally talking about not what people do with Bond, because the future of Bond was always weird. Like, again, I know it's that weird, odd one. And I don't, like, Skyfall has that really good story to me. Simple compared to the others. But Craig's Bonds, I have a love and hate relationship with. I like them in certain aspects, but I also disagree with the subject matter. Like, then again, you got to think of it. His Bonds are more on average small time plots. They're not large plots, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, to add more to what I was saying, I think Skyfall is also very good at really telling you by any means necessary James Bond will be sent even if he's not ready. James Bond being a sacrifice for the greater good was also very interesting when he got shot because they were hoping to stop the list from leaking. Overall, Skyfall again is a very nice trip, and it does so many memorable scenes like a train going into a subway or a big shootout with a house that's filled with trap, and ultimately am dying in James Bond arms. That was very sad. Each time I see that, I tear up. I won't lie. This is the art of Skyfall. Is M falling. Anyway, do you have any closing thoughts on Skyfall?
No, just remember it's downhill from here.
Yeah, that's true. Fully agree.
Just remember, it gets worse. I hate
Yeah.
you think the problem is you can criticize Raymond Benson for his writing of Bronson Bonds. Dear Christ God. The writing team on this one, like they tried to make it seem good. Like, oh God, I don't even want to get to the book. You're going to make me have to relive the whole nanovirus bullshit.
Yeah, we will
That's
talk about that.
horrible. There's
We,
a reason. By then, I know damn well you have. If you have any idea,
we will talk about Spectre and No Time to Die at some point in April. I can't remember the exact date.
oh, I may rewatch them just to see. I remember it's not that I remember a viewership of it. I was just like,
I did suffer through them, and I was like, my. And it's funny because I've only seen No Time to Die. No Time to Die is the only James Bond movie I've only seen once, and I don't know if I will ever.
There's a
rewatch that
reason,
thing.
by the way, how No Time to Die was handled is actually one of the I'm not saying main reasons why I think Bond went on a hiatus.
Yeah, because
Like,
it was so bad.
there is a whole, like,
Spectre was a better ending, and you dare to do No Time to Die just for the money.
I don't think it's not just that. The problem itself, it goes.
Spectre was already bad. Anyway, that's for the future. Get back to Skyfall. What would be your grade out of 10 for Skyfall?
I give that a 9.
Interesting. That's your IS as of right now. So that's probably your favorite Daniel Craig. Am I right on that?
Yes, it is my favorite.
I feel
think
you.
it has more the theme. Like, it's because of the others. Yeah, I get it. If you're going to do a small scale plot, it does it well. Because, like, a list of people, like, I'm not going to, I'm going to be honest. The issue with, like, Bond films is Bond films are a product of their time, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
The reason why they go, oh, you can't have a feminist James Bond, you can't. Like, the idea is, like, it's brilliantly handled. It's like sex appeal of, it's like, oh, you can't, you gotta have consent, you gotta do it. That's actually why a lot of the Bonds, that's why everyone's scared of the actual reboot of anything. Like, Amazon's talking about a reboot. Now, I will say 100% though, First Light is we're going to actually get to see what the new Bond stories are. Because, look, they're going to have to handle it. They may handle it with dignity of, I hope they handle it better. Don't think of it. Yes, First Light is a game, but it's going to be their first crack at a Bond story, and it's going to be the first James Bond game, and people are going to be going over that with a fine-tooth comb I mean, I know multi. It's a simple enough game. You will play it. You.
Yeah,
Could.
I will play it. I know for a fact I will play it.
It's. I do
That's on
recommend.
my plans, and I will also play Resident Evil. It comes out like
I recommend
2
too
weeks.
because I'm not gonna say first light. I've seen the updated stuff. James Bond games are good in a nutshell, basically. But this is going to be like this is the actual first James Bond game we're getting in many, many years. I think I'd have to go back and look up one of them. It's like Nightfire. They're going to be contained.
There was Bloodstone in 2012, I believe, or
Yeah,
2010.
Bloodstone. Yeah, but that's been God 10 years. But
More
like
than 10 years.
it wasn't like because it's going to be a fresh Bond learning the ropes, which it's going to be fine. The issue it's going to be we get to see kind of the foundation. Now, a lot of people's theory is if it does well, we might see a relaunching of Bond. But you're definitely going to have to pick somebody up in their 20s.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
I will give my score because you gave yours. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. And now because we kind of started a new era of James Bond movies, I will give the placement or the ranking of the James Bond movies we covered tonight. So Quantum of Solace for me is 21st among the 26 Bond movies. And we got Casino Royale, that's actually second among the 26 Bond movies. And Casino Royale is first place among the 26 Bond movies we got thus far. I cannot wait for a new reboot or a one-off. I think we need a one-off at some point. Anyway, that was the great Casino Royale, Kingdom of Solace, and Skyfall stream. What did guys thought of it? Let us know in the comments. So, Dragon, I will ask you, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
I just stream games, and tomorrow well, if you're seeing this as of like 12, I will have a stream for going over politics, American politics, silly as it goes. I may have to adjust it some, but that reminds me I gotta work on that. And if you watch this within this, and after I get done with this at 6 p.m., I stream games usually at 6 p.m. Central Time at least 4 times a week. Currently working on Dune. I need to finish out Neo either on straight Noia 3. That's why I said there's games that I like. It's not that I'm against. Now, I'm not going to play the James Bond game when it first comes out. Honestly, it ain't worth 50. If you're going to buy it on GG.deals. The problem is it's going to be a movie game. And by the way, don't be offended when people call what I call games like that a movie game. It's like Nightfire back in the day is good, but you're not paying full price. Even the new Indiana Jones is good. But God, like the Indiana Jones, the game, is good. But don't pay $60 for it. Like, you're not getting 30. What? You're going to get your money's worth out of games. Other than that, I have politics, and I'll have to get up to current. I got to figure it out. It's either going to be talking about dreadful Minneapolis or something different. But I'll cross that bridge. I'll put that together tonight. But other than that, I got to go farm stuff in Dune today. So
amazing. Well, in my end of the internet, tomorrow there's a Lucifer season 1, 2, and 3 streams. And Thursday, I will take the day off because 3 days in a row with reviews, it's kind of fun but also exhausting for me. Friday, we talk politics, Dragon. If you are available,
I'll be good. Yes.
We will express and say why Gary Alessandri, the safety minister in my country, because apparently if you say the word, you get paying on YouTube. I don't know why. Maybe it's some of our censorship laws, but that safety minister is terrible, and I collect so many clips of him just doing terrible job and just proving my point, saying yeah, we should fire the guy. I cannot wait to do that stream Friday with you.
Look, I wouldn't even drag. Like, personally, I'm thinking about doing look, technically, the way American politics is, it's either going to be sheer speculation that I'm going to get into, or look, Canada has their own. We
got our issues, and
yeah, that's basically. At least you guys don't have a Pam. Look, at least you guys don't have a Pam Bondi. At least I will give your.
We got worse. We got a Mark Carney. Anyway, Saturday, if everything goes well, maybe a semi-original and myself, semi-original guy stream will happen if he is available. Otherwise, I will simply do a stream. Just
by the way, have you finished Metroid Prime yet?
Yes. I quite enjoyed the game. It's not perfect. Before I do a review, I will need to replay it again, but I finished it. Okay. I finished it. And with this, we are out. See you soon next week for another show about reviews and stuff.
Yeah, RedBlue Podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new. Know what I mean? RedBlue Podcast, come check the scene. Movies old and new, know what I mean?